Problem.
Good evening, family. Welcome back to Papa Prepper. We are joined tonight by our guest, Rob from OFC Nation. We'll just be talking a little bit and chatting and what would you call it? Pioneer advice?
You broke up there for a second. Can you repeat that question?
I said you've got quite a bit of built-up knowledge from your years in the establishment.
Yes, in the Army and the Navy. I was a bit of a fool and decided that one boot camp wasn't good enough for me, and that I wanted to go through Navy boot camp after Army, which most people would say, "Oh, well, that's the easier of the two boot camp of those two." But it's not when you're prior service, because all they do is mess with you the entire time.
Right. Well, first of all,
yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for your service twice. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're welcome.
All right. And hi real quick, and let's see. Zane, Nick Stinson, Mames Legacy. Good to see you guys. Independent Marine, good to see you.
Hey, Mames.
Joe Morgan, Ashley, True American Loretta. Good to see you guys. We'll go down through here. 2A guy.
All familiar names.
We travel in packs, man. Skid Kid, good to see you. Flow Grown Homesteader, good to see you. Let's see. I need to move my microphone so I can see something here. All right. Blue Vandal, good to see you. Karen Miner, CC Collins, Homestead Homeboy, good to see you, brother. Lenny on the Mississippi, good to see you guys. Bear Wilkie, good to see you. Prepared for Life's Challenges, good to see you. I think that catches us up. Diabetic Prepper, good to see you. Anna W. Brian, last name, good to see you. I don't think I've ever seen that name before. So welcome. Thank you for being here. All right, guys.
Brian, last name? That's the one you haven't seen before?
Yeah.
Oh, he's on my channel. He's been on my channel for quite some time. He probably popped on over.
Good deal. Well, welcome, sir. I'm glad you're here. F Home 2C, Richard Christopher, good to see you guys. Before we get started, getting started, whatever. Something that comes up in here a lot in our chats is, it comes down to it, and you're forced with the decision of taking somebody's life or not. This gentleman emailed me one day, and I hope I don't embarrass you, but
no, it's okay.
I saved this, and it's like permanent. It's a file on my phone now. He was prepping some guys to head out to the Middle East, and
Afghanistan.
And he overheard them talking. And at the time, he was a sergeant, and they asked him, "Sarge, you've been over there. What's it like?" And this is what he told them. And he emailed this to me. It says, "Son, leave all emotions out of it. Do not hate your enemy. Do not hate out of anger or vengeance. Do not think of your enemy as a person. This will slow your response. Your switch that must be turned off. Be faster and aim truer than your target. Once the fight is over, do not boast, brag, or celebrate the death of your enemy, because he is no longer your enemy. He is no longer a target, no longer a thing to make go away, and no longer a switch to be turned off. Now he's someone's departed father, brother, husband, or son, and now he's being judged by his creator. So to do." And man, that I thought about that for days, and I really did. I really appreciated you sending that to me. And that's something I think we all need to you know, put that in our mind. Like, because I think we're all going to be forced with that eventually. I mean, if things keep going the way they're going, I really don't see any other, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And I think part of the problem nowadays, and I saw it in the military when I was, training up younger millennials, was that the Call of Duty mentality. And I tell them, I say, son,
You're breaking up a little bit.
you're not going to respawn. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit
Yes.
of it is that Call of Duty mentality. And I'd tell them, I'd say, son, you're not going to respawn somewhere else on the board. It's not going to happen. So you need to avoid doing stupid shit, or you'll end up dead from doing stupid shit.
Absolutely. Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Oh yeah. That is certain.
How long did you serve altogether?
19 years.
That's awesome.
Yep. Now yeah, it would have been 20, but there were some personal issues that were going on. And so I didn't want somebody coming after half my retirement. So cut my nose off my space. And just because of the point, you're not getting half of what you didn't earn, my CO transferred me to inactive status, and I just wrote it out.
Yeah. Hey, Native and Devout, good to see you. Shorty, Kim's Farm Life, good to see you. Thank you guys for being here. Ruben D, good to see you made it. Tech-Tarded Prepper, hey, how's it going, Zebulon? Good to see you, buddy. That's his son. He watches every Papa Prepper live stream.
Okay.
And
you're breaking up. It's a storm.
It's not storming here yet, or it's supposed to get pretty hectic from what I've seen.
Well, it might be on my side because right now, I got the TV up behind me. It's lightning and tornado warnings everywhere around me right now.
Gotcha.
In fact, my deck table and umbrella and everything all blew away. So I mean, it's out back. I'll go get it after the storm's over with.
Right. So you're in the great state of West Virginia, correct?
Yes, I split my time between West Virginia and Florida down by Grayman, and basically I work up here in the oil fields. I mean, you can't beat it. As far as money wise, you can't beat it. The work, quite often it sucks, but yeah, when I can, I get to Florida. But my kids are all up here. I was born and raised up here in the mountains up until I joined the military, and then I came back here, of course, after I got out of the military, and been enjoying the last 2 weeks with my kids. Took some time off from work because I run my own business, so it affords me that luxury. When you're the boss, you can say, I don't feel like going to work today or next week.
Right.
But what else would you like to know, sir?
You service the trucks and stuff like that, right? Work on the trucks.
I work on my trucks. I run 18 wheelers up into the well sites. It's 2-lane dirt roads, sometimes 1-lane dirt roads, cliffs on the side. It's fairly hazardous work. I've at one point in time I had built up to a dozen trucks, and I lost some here and there, and then end up closing my business down for a while and relaxed down in Florida, then came back up and started up again.
Nice. Now, how long have you been prepping, or
Okay, now
like
that I would say I've been prepping mentally since I was a child, because I was all about G.I. Joe.
Right.
That was my thing. And then sometime in the 80s, a lot of y'all probably will remember a gentleman by the name of Burt Gummer from the movie Tremors.
Mm-hmm.
The minute I saw Burt Gummer with his 5,000 gallons of water, his food for 2 years, and a wall full of weaponry, I was like, that's who I want to be when I grow up. And then, of course, like most kids from West Virginia, it was either the coal mines or the military or prison. And so I chose to go off to the military because I wasn't going to work in those mines. A lot of my family did. That's not for me. And then once I joined the military, I've lived altogether in 17 different countries. If you've seen my children, you'll notice they're not fully Caucasian on my videos. My oldest was actually born in Bangkok, Thailand. I used to have a little house up in the northeast province near the Golden Triangle, and it was a funny experience because the first time I went to my children's mother's village, my ex-wife, some of the kids there had never seen a white person before, and they thought I was a ghost. Like literally thought I was a ghost. I mean, it was crazy. And well, from there I bounced around the Middle East and Africa and all other kind of little places the average person wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, I think the weather's messing with us, man. You keep freezing up pretty bad.
Oh.
Or at least on my end. I don't know if you're freezing up on everybody else's or not. Joe Morgan said, Papa, I wanted to be Burt Gummer too.
Yeah, see?
Joe?
Man.
Yeah, you guys are kind of on the same when it comes to weaponry and stuff like that. He's right up there with you.
Oh yeah, I love old Burt Gummer. You can never have too much firepower. But yeah, so I keep in my daily life I keep a bug out bag right by the door, right there. And if I'm going somewhere further than just around here, it's in the SUV with me. If I'm in one of my trucks, it's in my truck with me. It's no point in having it if you don't carry it with you.
Amen. Absolutely.
And I mean, believe it or not, some people are like, oh, well, why would you just carry it? There have been times when I've been stuck out on a well site or my vehicle broke down. We got caught in floods a couple months ago. Hell, I opened up my little burner, grabbed a can of food out, cooked myself something to eat because I wasn't going anywhere until the next morning. And I hadn't had supper, so I went ahead and cooked myself something to eat right there on the, from the bug out bag. Good to go. You just got to remember to put the stuff back in that you take out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Forget that you had to use it that one time, and yeah. So how does that? So you have a residence in Florida as well?
Yeah. Yes, I live down around the Titusville area.
So do you kind of prep both locations, or you just kind of relying on skill and?
My fallback is my fallback location, no matter where I'm at in the country, is always here. Just because of the geographical area. Right. One, it's mountainous, less population density, and there's not, there's a nuclear reactor very far north of us, which wouldn't affect me if it because of the easterly winds. If there was ever a grid down scenario where it was so long that the actual power plant went, I wouldn't have to worry about fallout or anything like that, any contamination. Plenty of fresh water sources. So even when I'm in Florida, my concept is to get back here no matter how long it takes.
And the sharks are there too, right? Yes,
and the baby sharks live up here with their mother, and her and the children live in a pretty remote little village. It's actually called a village. So it's in the middle of nowhere. So, they're geographically okay. So I don't have to worry about that aspect.
My dad's side of the family, they're all from West Virginia, like, Welch, West Virginia?
I do not, but I've probably seen it on a sign. It's probably down south.
Beckley. Do you know where Beckley's at?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I've had
Yes, I
family.
do.
Actually, most of them have moved either to North Carolina now or more the Virginia area. But like
Yeah, and that's what.
Roach, Beckley, Rhodeyfield. I can't remember what it's called now. But
I don't know
anyway,
that, but most of my family was from the Summersville region. We actually have a family cemetery up there that goes back 200 plus years.
wow.
And a few decades ago, a lot of the males, because the coal mining took a hit, moved down to Florida and started other businesses down there, which is why my father relocated down there. And then he eventually came back home and met my mother, and ta-da, here I am. But yeah, all throughout these mountains. I mean, and you grow up in the mountains, you typically learn survival. Well, we don't call it survivalism or
Right.
prepping. We just call it living.
Yep.
And it's a foreign concept to some people. People are like, why do you have a month's worth of food? Well, in case I'm snowed in. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's people. I mean, you get back up in the hills and hollers down there. There's people that's never even had electricity. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
there's still a lot of primitive living down in West Virginia, and I mean, some other places like that. There's people.
I remember. Yeah, I remember in 80, I think it was 84, 85, maybe 86. Yeah, I was about 10 at the time. My grandmother still lived in a 2-room log cabin. The front room had a coal burning stove. The second room had a wash tub, basically a metal tub, and a sink area. So she would heat water in the living room, bring it in to either bathe or wash dishes, and the well pump and outhouse were out back of the house. So, and I mean, she had no electricity. She had no running water. Literally, I'd have to go out and hand pump the water out of the well, and that was just the mid '80s.
Yep. And those are the people that will outlive all of us. In a true SHTF, they'll be the last one standing. Like they wouldn't even know if anything even happened.
Exactly. But
Hey,
yeah, and the thing about like a lot of these COVID restrictions and people talking about people going door to door, there are a lot of places in West Virginia where you just don't want to go walking up or riding up certain hollers,
right.
because if you ain't from there, they don't want you there.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I
people
mean,
they'll have a change of heart pretty fast, I think. Because then people
yeah.
way up in the holler will know you're coming too, way before you get there.
Mm-hmm. A buddy of mine, Dave, he lives out of Ridge, and before I can get to his house, he'd know I'm coming, because every other family is in some way, shape, or form related to the next family,
Right.
either through marriage or blood or something. And so they all the way out, a couple miles out, they all know, oh, hey, that guy there, he's going down to Dave's house. Hey, Dave,
Right.
you weren't home. You got your buddy was stopped by. Oh, okay.
And the nicest people. I mean, once you're welcomed and they know you, the nicest people you'll ever meet, and will
Oh
do
yeah.
do anything for you and not expect a thing in return.
Oh yeah, and that's why, like getting back to where I prep and caches and stuff like that. I did a video on that a while back about breaking up your caches.
Mm.
In fact, my friend Dave, he's a former military police officer. He's also makes custom gun holsters and things like that. But I've got 6 months worth of food stored in his basement. And I mean, 25-year shelf life worth of food stored in his basement, because should I have to leave here and go somewhere else, I can always go there. And if something happens, majorly happens, at least I know I don't have to worry about he got his own preps, but now he has extra if I can't make it.
Right.
And vice versa. If he might store stuff here, or I've got other locations where I store. I break it up so that way it's with people that I trust, with people that I can rely on when shit does hit the fan. And and if I never have to go there, or I have to go somewhere else, I don't have to worry. Are my pseudo family okay? Yes, they are, because I already prepped for them.
Right. And that kind of brings me to my next thing. As far as a mag goes, do you have a decent sized mag, or kind of like your friend Dave? Is that because myself, I have my little family here at home, and then I have our immediate family that lives in the next county over, and that's really it for us.
Well, the key, I like to try to tell my guys, go ahead and make sure that you have other like-minded people with you to bring into the fold. But just the core of our little thing we got going on, we got former Rangers, former demolitions expert. We got a former, we've got so many, we got enough former military and some civilians who we have, either myself personally or others in the group have known. Because like I said before, I'm just a face on here. Actually, OFC Group is what we call ourselves. And we have the plans and the means to lock down 1,000 square miles of land right here in this area. So in the event there is a catastrophic SHTF scenario, we're not worried about, can the sheriff maintain order? Can the local police department maintain order? In lack of anyone else maintaining order, we will maintain order.
Hey man, that's awesome.
And we will bring order from chaos.
So do you want to tell everybody what OFC stands for? Because there's a lot of people in here that haven't watched you yet.
Right there, order from chaos. Froze up on me. Okay, you're back. I'm back. Right. One of us is back.
We're both back.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, I've seen, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it'll never happen here," and I hate that mindset, because you know what? In 2003, there were millions of Iraqis that said, "Oh, it'll never happen here," and then they woke up one morning and we were storming across their border and launching rockets and knocking out their infrastructure. It did happen there. If the lights go out, we will very rapidly fall back into feudalism, tribalism, basically the dark ages, mostly the nasty parts of it. And you'll see warlords rise.
Right.
What's your opinion of the military?
I apologize, Nick. I'm trying to pay attention and watch chat at the same time, brother. I apologize.
Okay, to kind of my opinion, Nick, is that as we were talking before this actual live stream in the green room, Meredith, there was a purge over the last couple of decades of the officer ranks, where they were pushing out conservative, constitutional-minded officers. They were just pushing them out left and right. Getting liberals, progressives, yes men into the positions and moving up the ranks. And that's what you're starting to see now. You're starting to see the result of that now. But now, if you pay attention, they're trying to do the same thing with the enlisted side. They're talking about going through people's social media, going through Facebook. Basically, anyone. There's been, I'd say, 6 or 7 of military members that I know personally that are conservative, that are constitutionally minded, that have chosen to get out over the past 12 months or are planning on getting out in the next couple months because their enlistments are up, because they see the writing on the wall. They are now purging the enlisted ranks of people who won't toe the line. And so, yes, very soon you could see the U.S. military used against the U.S. people, the U.S. citizens. I mean, I don't have any doubt that if there had been any people trying to go and protest in D.C. 3 months ago, after the guard got there, that there would have been problems. You would have seen it. Now, as far as vets, there are a lot of vets, like I said, like myself and others, who have gotten out and don't recognize the current military mindset. And those are the people, we are going, unfortunately, I'm afraid we're going to be the last bastion of hope, because as we see, most civilians will not stand up for themselves. Right. They'll just go with the flow because it's easier to not rock the boat.
I think you're absolutely.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I mean, as far as everybody coming together, and making a stand, when it comes down to it, you guys, every one of you guys as veterans, I would even say like pre-Obama, you know what I mean? Like, you guys that have the true values and, what our military was intended to be will be our last hope. I honestly do believe that.
I mean, we were going a little short story. We were going through use of deadly force training, and stupid death by PowerPoint shit. And after the training, one of my junior soldiers was standing beside my lieutenant, and he was a young green lieutenant, and he said, Sarge, he said, what if we were over in Iraq and the lieutenant starts targeting, the lieutenant snaps and starts shooting at civilians? I said, well, I'll give him a verbal command to stop. He said, well, Sarge, what if he doesn't stop? I said, son, I'll have to put him down like a fucking rabid dog. And the lieutenant's eyes got about this big around, along with the kid. He said, you'd shoot the lieutenant? And the lieutenant said, well, you'd shoot me, Sergeant Keenan? I said, I'd put you down quicker than a heartbeat, sir. And they were flabbergasted.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that should be the response. If you are targeting women and children, you should expect to be put down. That's how I came up in the military. If I snapped and started doing war crimes, somebody on my own side better put me down.
Absolutely.
But this new generation, there's some scary things coming down the pike.
I got some people coming in to say hi to here real quick. Five Virgins Prepper, good to see you, brother. Thank you for being here. Be charming. She said that answered the question, but wasn't the answer I was hoping for.
I'm sorry, Be Charming.
Be Charming is awesome. Klingon Princess, good to see you. Tamara Reynolds, good to see you. Blue Coat Gorilla, good to see you. It's a new name too, I believe. Maybe not. I can't. It's hard to remember everybody. My heart is with the active military, but they need to do what their heart tells them. They're and we don't see what goes on behind those scenes either, say they do, sir, I cannot carry out those orders, it might come time where they're off too, like, you can't do it, we'll get rid of you, period.
Yeah. And see, the thing, I think part of it was I spent a lot of time in the special operations community, and there we are taught to be thinkers. You have to be a thinker when you're in the special operations community. We're taught to question everything, even authority. I've told, full bird colonels, sir, no, we're not doing that stupid shit. Well, I gave you an order. I don't report to you, sir. I report to Bragg. They don't like that, by the way. They'll get pissy. But I'm sorry, sir. I don't report to you. I report to Bragg. End of story, sir. But yeah, that's why I rode the chain of command. I mean, I rode the chain. I went E1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because I get once in a while I get my little dingy smack, get knocked down a couple ranks, I'd come back up.
Veteran brothers and sisters I served with in GWOT have his way, suicided or went to college and got brainwashed for a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they even tell people in military/army anymore to resist unlawful order.
Yeah, the last PowerPoint presentation I saw was just a small little blurb at the bottom, and normally it's in regards to hazing now. That was the last time I saw it. It was, if someone tells you to, you have to polish their boots because they're senior, that's considered an unlawful order and it's hazing. That's the last time I actually saw anything about following unlawful orders, was doing a hazing PowerPoint. I hate PowerPoint.
Hey, Michigan Outpost 231, good to see you, brother. Shipwreck,
hey,
good
Michigan.
to see you. Just checking out I don't want to miss anything. Nick asked that question about, the first question I put up.
I'm losing you.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
You are breaking it. You sound like a robot right now.
Uh-oh. Coral.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
How close are the storms, Coral? Coral Tiggers. She lives like 45 minutes from me. She's kind of my weather girl.
Okay.
She lets me know when the storms are coming.
Okay.
Northern Girl Hobbies, good to see you. Thank you for being here.
But
I got my rank.
Go ahead.
I got my rank, but couldn't go any higher. I wouldn't lie, cheat, or steal for them.
Understand. I mean, it's amazing when you're at a certain level and you're in certain communities, you get to see you see things that other people don't get to, that blow the minds of some civilians when I tell them, like, I encountered some Pakistani narcos traffickers, and well, the U.S. government uses who they need to do things that they need to get done. But I actually had one of the narco traffickers tell me one time, he said, "Sergeant, when you're done with the military, you should come work for us." I said, "I'm not working in Pakistan. I don't want to go anywhere near Pakistan." He says, No, Connecticut. I was like, "Excuse me?" Yeah. And the government knows that these people are into this shady shit. That's the reason they get it. They get them because they have assets or routes of access and egress that these people can use. They get things done that the government can't acknowledge that they're doing. And but it just blew my mind because he opened up his phone, because it was back when they flip phones. Opened up his phone and showed me a Connecticut area code phone number, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I'm not working for your organization. Even on my side, I'm not doing that. Even in the U.S., no, you can no. We'll do what we have to do here, and that's it."
Yes, you are Southern Patriots. Sorry.
That's who?
Southern I can never remember the whole name. I apologize. Southern Patriots. Help me out, guys. He has a group that's based in Alabama. Like-minded folks. And hey, Mojo Man. I don't know if you heard me tell you hi earlier or not, but good to see you. Thank you for being here. Prepper Sun Farming. Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
But if you saw my video earlier today that I posted about what's going on over in Australia, I mean, that's insane. Today they are moving troops into Sydney to work with the police to crack down on their citizens, on the residents of that city. And altogether, they said they had 13,000 from the newspaper I was reading. They had 13,000 across the country that they were deploying. You know, everybody was worried about, well, if the blue helmets come here, you don't need blue helmets. Why would they need blue helmets? They already have everybody, you know, afraid of the local police. And all you'd have to do is have the National Guard or Army Reserve or active Army augment the local police.
Right.
You know, it's what we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. We weren't out there policing per se each and every individual town or city. No, we would spin up their own police forces, train people to do things the way we wanted things done, and then send their own people to police their own people.
Melbourne is isolated from the rest of the country currently.
Never made it to Melbourne. I've been to Sydney.
Thank you very much, Coral. You said there's only one cell on the radar, and it's south of us. So we might make it through this.
Well, there you go. I think there's one coming directly at me. It's a little bit west.
Oh, Shipwreck, you didn't make a scene, man. It's all good, man. I just couldn't. I didn't want to mess your the name up. That's all. And it's Southern Preppers. Nope, Southern Patriots Association. I'll get it right here in a minute.
Okay. I'll have to look him up.
Let's see over here what's going on. The military would do things here for sure, but when National Guard in Idaho, Arizona Guard in Maine, etc., that's when I'd pay attention. Yeah, that's what Howlin' Sarge. Do you watch Howlin' Sarge by chance?
No, I've never actually heard of him until you just said it.
You'd like him. He's a straight shooter, right to the point. His videos are like 4-6 minutes long. He says his piece, you know, and he's done. But that's what he was saying.
Kind of like some of my videos.
Like when you start seeing, you know, Michigan National Guards over in Tennessee, and Tennessee moves to West Virginia, West Virginia moves to Kentucky, that's when, you know, he says that's when you'll start seeing a lot of bad things come to light and start happening.
Yeah, that is true, because you know, they wouldn't. You're not going to send West Virginians against West Virginians, or, you know,
right,
what are Alabama against Alabama. You're going to need to move from one side to the other. So yes, that would be bad. That's why, honestly, I hate to say it, but there's two ways I see this country getting back to its original foundation, getting back to the Constitution. One is if states secede, which would, I mean, especially Texas. You try, you know, if Texas actually grabbed themselves by the balls and seceded, there would be a civil war. And people are like, oh, no, another way. Do you know how much money the rest of the federal government would lose if Texas up and took off? And Texas has their own grid. They don't need anyone else. They have enough military bases, enough military personnel to fend off Mexico. The question is, would they be able to fend? How many other states would join them to fend off the federal government of what is then the United States? And that's where you'd see another civil war, which could be really nasty, depending on what kind of weapons were deployed. Then if the seceding side won, then you could rebuild on constitutional concepts and freedom on the U.S. Constitution. The other way that I see the United States getting back to its foundation is to I hate to say it, but EMP, grid down, because like the military says, they anticipate, approximately 90% of the U.S. population to not make it for a year. And people are, well, what would you do? Well, then you'd rebuild. All right. Because you know what, when there was just colonies here, there wasn't 360 or 340 million people. Right. You just have to rebuild. Now, the problem is that once the grid would be down for that long, yes, it would be a nasty situation. And once that was over, you would have the other superpowers coming in to basically pick the bones and create their own little colonies. No doubt the Chinese would take over the West Coast and start pushing in that way, just colonizing it on their own. And hopefully, if there were survivors out there, they wouldn't be messed with too much. But what would probably happen is the current United States, if an EMP actually happened, would become like Afghanistan. There would be regions that were controlled by various warlords because they would rise. In a power vacuum, someone always takes power.
Right.
And then once there was a reestablished loose coalition of small governments throughout what was left of the United States, that's when you'd have these outside powers coming in, just like when we'd go in, we'd negotiate with these warlords in this region. The ones that were hostile, well, they just got put on the chopping block. The ones that wanted to play ball, look at President Karzai of Afghanistan. When we went into Afghanistan, he wasn't really much of nobody. He had I think less than 3,000 people that actually followed who he was. Here we are. Here you are 5 years after we went in. He's the president because he was the one little warlord that would play ball. And you'd have the same shit here, but it would be nasty. I mean, it would be something straight out of nightmares.
Let's see if there's any questions over here. I hope it don't happen. I mean, I really hope it don't result in that.
Okay. And no, I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to enlighten and educate. Are you there, Papa? Because you're breaking up.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. You spent 37 years. Good for you. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Absolutely.
But 37 years in the history of nations is nothing, my friend. Is nothing. Nations rise and fall. Where are the Aztecs today? Gone. Where are the Incas today? Gone. What happened to the British Empire that used to control all of India? The sun used to never set on the British Empire. Well, can't say much of that today. One time, Australia was the British Empire. Now it's its own country. I mean, the Chinese. Now, if you said China is never going away, that I might buy, because China has been China for 2,000 years. Okay? Right. But even their dynasties changed. Their civilization changed with it over the time periods. I mean, you look at the Celts. You look at the Vikings. Times change. 37 years, 50 years, 100 years. Hell, we used to be I guarantee there was a time when King George said, "Oh, well, those colonies will never break free." Guess what happened? Here we are, United States of America. Never say never.
That's true. I think it really matters what state you're in. If you're in New York, it's different than Texas and other places. The governors decide what is and isn't enforced. And I know there's a lot of people
Yes.
rising up right now. I mean, from states you wouldn't even think would, buck the White House, but they're really starting to, these masks, and because it's just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, they say
Yes.
you follow the science, like, well, the science has changed its mind about 27 times in the last year, just on masks alone, and there's no way this was
Oh,
leaked from a lab in Wuhan. Well, here's all this evidence. It was leaked from, things that actually, I think you covered that actually, I think that was I watched several videos a day, but, um, you know, all these things that people were getting reprimanded for and blocked out on Facebook and Twitter and all this for the past year about this Wuhan conspiracy theory.
mhm.
Now it's all fact, So what about these people that you basically made out to look like idiots and fools for the last year and a half? And now it's totally
Yep.
acceptable. And, it's like everybody's just fed up with the whole thing, masks,
Yep.
social
And
distance. Social distancing doesn't bother me. Stay away. That's fine. I'm not a up close and personal kind of guy. But
yeah, I had a friend in Pittsburgh that he has health issues. We grew up together, and I called him in early January of last year, and I told him, I still at that point I still had military friends in the intel and psyop community, and I had some people tell me, this thing looks like it's coming, and from what we see, it looks like it could be bad. So I was telling him, I said, hey, there's a bioweapons lab in China. Well, a lab in China, and I think something nasty got out of it. And people always, they wanted to say, well, we didn't know about it until the end of December, beginning of January. Meanwhile, the NSA and CIA had satellite footage of the hospitals in the Wuhan area, and they had already went back years prior because they compare to analyze. They compare. If you look at these satellite videos of 2018, 17, 16, during certain time frames, there's an average number of vehicle traffic, the parking garages traffic. Well, you fast forward to 2019, and those same hospitals, their traffic was at capacity, was doubled. Right. Why? And this was in July and August of 2019, not in October and November. So when by the time we're finding out about it, it's already crossed the pond. There's nothing you can put the genie back in the bottle, and then and the government doesn't help, because I did a video last year that when the Surgeon General was saying masks are not necessary. I told people, I said, if they're telling you masks are not necessary, the first thing you should do is buy every damn 3M mask you can find. I said, because unless it's rated for viral particles, it won't help you. I said, if these cloth, if and then later on, I said, if they want you to wear cloth masks. If they want you to wear cloth masks, why didn't they issue me one in the military?
Right.
It would save them a lot of money. Oh, well, we're going over here. They might have bioweapons. Here, wear this cloth mask. It'll save you. Bullshit. Well, and then it became, well, it's not, it's spittle. Well, not a lot of people going around spitting on people, at least where I'm from.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And then they're saying, well, yeah, then it's first is you don't need masks. Then it's you do need masks. And
don't forget,
you froze.
I said, don't
forget. 1 second, you'll be back.
I said, don't forget, at one point in time, you needed 2, maybe 3.
There you are. Oh, yeah. And then today, I literally, on the news, heard the president say, well, now you're going to have to wear masks because people who are fully vaccinated could pass the virus to people who are not vaccinated. Okay. And then he turns around 15 minutes later, 10 minutes later, and says, we got a pandemic of non-vaxxed people because the non-vaxxed people can spread the virus to other non-vaxxed people. Well, who's spreading it to who? Which one is it? Because he doesn't even know how vaccines work. Because just because you have a vaccine, now they're coming up with these mandates like on angry preppers where you can either be fully vaxxed or get tested every week to go to work if you're an employee in New York. Well, here's my thing. A vaxxed person can carry a high enough viral load to infect a non-vaxxed person. So Absolutely. They need to be tested weekly if I need to be tested weekly.
Well, I read today that Los Angeles County mandated when school starts, every faculty member, child, bus drivers, everybody, vaccinated or not, will be tested every week. Now, you know how much money and time that is going to take. How long could that possibly hold up? There's no way.
Hey, hold on. You hit the nail on the head. Repeat that statement, but leave out time.
Money.
How much money is that going to take? It's all about the Benjamins.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, hell, I've had people that, that had to get tested, and they're like, do you have any idea how much a test costs? No, I don't. They're like, neither do I, and they won't tell us when we go get tested. Well, no shit, because they're going to just bill your insurance something ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's all about money, because here's the thing. If half of the country doesn't want to get vaccinated, and the other half is worried, well, we're going to have people dying. Well, it ain't you. If you're so convinced that people that are unvaccinated are going to die, why are you trying to stop it? All right, because you know what? If I take my life in my hands, I have numerous times driving down the road. If I die, I die. It ain't on you. You've done your part. You got your good little jab. You've done your part to protect you. Right. Now, if it doesn't protect me, then who's to blame but me? If I die, I die. That's my fault.
Well, I was chatting with somebody today, and he's in here, but
Joe just said.
I told him, I said, the way I figured, I'm going to die with it or I'm going to die without it eventually. So I'll just go ahead and die without it just for,
Yeah. It's life. Nobody gets out of this shit alive.
Absolutely. Homestead Oz, good to see you. I don't know how long you've been in here. Sorry I missed you. Don't play it down, guys. Sorry you're without rule of law now because your hands are in the process of being tied like ours the last year. The only option for you is to
Homestead Oz.
Yeah, they're right in the middle of all that over there. They're suffering.
Yeah, I watched Homestead Oz. I wondered what happened to you. I didn't see any videos pop up for quite a while. Hope you guys are doing well down there. Yes.
That is an excellent analysis, brother. A lot of those warlords would be commanders in our National Guard units, commanders of our law enforcement, local government officials, folks that own large chains.
Potentially. However, me and my guys in this area, we have a different plan. Because and that's one reason why location matters. And this might give some people some ideas, but I don't care because we're already one step ahead. We have lots of natural gas and oil wells in this region. I mean, lots. And they produce this stuff called liquid condensate, which looks like water. I mean, it's clear, but it is extremely, extremely flammable. It's basically oil, clear oil, and it just flows out there. Even if the power goes out, EMP knocks out all the power. We're back to the Stone Ages. Guess what? As long as you know how to open those wells up by manually opening the right valves, that beautiful, clear, crystal stuff just flows right into these big tanks. And we can use that to power up armored Humvees, up armored MRAPs, tanks, you name it, we can get it to run off of that stuff because we know how to do it. And we also know where those vehicles are kept. And it ain't too far from where I'm sitting right now. So, and during all the initial chaos, the first week or so of chaos is when we will just ferment, come together and establish our base of operations. And you'll see that flag flying. When that flag's flying, that is, you have a limited time to join or you will be consumed by the nation.
Very nice.
Plus, there's some bridges to the east and to the west and to the north that once those are taken care of by if they were taken care of by a demolitions expert, that people have a real tough time getting to this part of the region anyway.
Right.
That's worst case scenario, of course. God forbid that ever happen, because like I said, we're gonna have a whole lot of other problems to worry about too, like my cannibalism and slavery video.
Absolutely, man. That I thought about, of course, the cannibalism thing. A lot of people, say no, there is no way. And then, like you said, you look at your starving baby sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
telling me you're not going to do anything in your power to sustain their life,
Oh yeah. Now here's a funny story, and I'll tell it because my sister doesn't watch my videos. But we were talking one time. She lives down in Florida too, and I was over at her house visiting. And I said, sis, if shit ever hits the fan, I said, at least she has big dogs. I mean, big, Rottweilers, Mastiffs. She rescues dogs. And I joked and said, at least you'd be able to eat your dogs, to stay alive. And we had never had a conversation about prepping or survival or anything I talk about. And without batting an eye, she looked at me and she said, I'll eat the damn neighbors before I eat my dogs. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are my sister. Come here.
I agree with that too, Five. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not absolutely sure about, your stand as far as, Christianity, and I can't stand religion. But I say we're looking at the chat, but I'm
a follower of the God of Abraham.
Absolutely. Gotcha.
I mean, I may look like a heathen because I got snake bones in my beard. That does throw people a little bit.
Hey, man, I get it. I got it. I get you. I don't have any.
Oh yeah, I had some witnesses come to my house in Florida one time, and my brother and his wife were down visiting, and she came back to the house, and she said, "Who's out there on the porch?" He goes, "Oh, those are witnesses." He said, "Well, what are they doing back there?" He said, "Oh, he's had them back there for 3 hours talking to him." They messed up. They sent them young rookies, and I started preaching all kinds of stuff to them. It was good times though. I never saw them boys back in the neighborhood though.
We're already taking recipes for rump roast.
Oh yeah. I do rump roast, beats baby back ribs. Even that's too cool for me.
Oh, that's too much.
Oh yes, yeah. I see. I told you. I said it was too much for me.
Here's the line right here. You went.
That's what I do. I don't just step over the line. I hurl myself across it.
Milkmaid said, "I love my dogs, but can't do people."
Oh, look, dog people. Look, Milkmaid. Dog people say dogs are better. Cat people say cats are better. I say food is food.
Which brings me to something here I was going to ask you, which I don't know, you might, because you have two residents. When it comes like animals or gardening or, stuff like that, do you do any of that or?
I used to. Right now, I don't. I want to go ahead and get. I'm looking at over the next year or so, I want to, if we don't come completely unglued by then, I'd like to get, 25, 30 acres or more, pretty much in an isolated location. Then I could start a little homestead up, which of course would end up on this screen. But I've, because of my military career and my current career, I lead a pretty nomadic lifestyle. The only reason I actually like this place here, I rent as a field office just because I need some place to bring the baby sharks.
Right.
So I've always, there was times when you get a phone call, hey, you need to be on the runway tomorrow, and it's like, okay, we're hitting tarmac, getting on the bird, and we're gone. And that becomes such a part of you that it just becomes what you are, who you are, which is probably why I still live that way, and chose the oil field lifestyle, because you're always on to go somewhere.
All right. Hey, Karen Meyer, KY Survival, Tooth Fairy, good to see you guys. Homestead All said, I'll eat the dog food. I love our dogs too much. Well, then what are they going to eat? Then you're just killing them slowly, Homestead Oz.
The dogs can eat the neighbors.
Ah, that's true.
There you go. Yeah, I'd never eat my own pet if I had a pet. Now, if somebody else's, I wouldn't have a problem. Food is food. I'll eat snakes. I'll eat. My daughter, she's eating groundhogs with me. I killed the neighbor's groundhog. I didn't realize it was a pet. It was back when I used to have a garden. It was tearing up the garden, so I put a trap out there, caught it up in its shoulder. Came home from work. There's a fat old groundhog running around in my garden. Walked over with a ball peen, whacked her. Soaked her in salt water overnight after I skinned her all up. Threw her on the grill the next day. Me and my little girl, we ate her up. Neighbor was pissed.
Oh, I bet.
I was like, how am I supposed to know that this is your groundhog?
Right.
Yeah. You got any more questions over there?
I'm looking.
He said, I'm looking.
So if you was to just a wild guess, like the way the next lockdown, it's coming. Whether you abide by it or not, whatever. But do you think that will usher in the SHTF that everybody's been prepping for? Do you think it's going to be, or do you think everybody will just kind of still do their thing and say, forget your lockdown, we're not doing it? Or do you think it's more strictly?
I think it has to get bad. Real bad, painful, before people will stand up in this country. It'll have to get bad. People will have to be starving, which would probably start to happen if they put in another lockdown. It's going to disrupt supply chains again. Small businesses that did survive the first time won't make it through the second round, more than likely. So, you're going to have, businesses that I think would just say, no, we're not shutting our doors. And like I said in my video today, you need to support those people. You need to keep them at capacity and be their guard, their barrier, their guardians from the enforcement, the law enforcement officers who will come to shut them down. But if they are successful at shutting down the businesses, breaking up the supply chain again, then it'll just be another domino falling, and it'll pick up speed. And ultimately, you're looking at authoritarianism. That's the group that's in power will stay in power at that point. Trump might not have declared a state of emergency and used it to suspend the elections, but you can bet your sweet ass that the Democrats would.
All right. Here's a question for you. How do you think people should progress to get organized so if/when it gets bad, we the people have a plan?
I just did a little video about that the other day. I think it was yesterday or the day before, about starting your own little Patriot/Prepper group. And now a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't like Facebook, but it is a very useful tool, a very effective tool if you use it for other than what they intend you to use it for. They intend you to use it just for mindless entertainment, to brainwash you, to feed you propaganda. But if you simply use it to find like-minded people you grew up with, people in your area, because statistically most people live and die within 50 miles of where they were born. So most of the people that are on your Facebook in the first place are people you actually know for the most part. You can start using that to send messages to different people who you see posting similar things like you, saying similar things like you, like the guy that always likes your anti whatever post. That's the guy or the girl that you need to contact and be like, hey, we're meeting at Arby's. Let's go get something to eat at lunch. My treat. I want to talk to you about some things. Look at like I said in my video, the movie The Patriot. How are we going to find people? Walk into that little tiny country ass bar and hey, God save Joe Biden. If they're trying to kick your ass, those are the people you want. All right. But yes, start locally. Find and you'll find people. We're not that hard to find. I mean, we are approximately 180, 190 million of us out here, give or take.
Lots of deer, lots of squirrels on my property, so I can manage with that over human. Coral, that wildlife's not going to last too long.
It ain't going to last long when you got your neighbors and everybody else coming and plucking them off.
Absolutely. I mean,
now
you better start bagging and tagging now and filling up your freezers, because the deer they'll be like the first to go.
Now, honestly, a lot of people are like, well, rabbits, I would raise rabbits because they reproduce fast. Yeah. No, some people aren't going to like this. Some people are going to like, I'd never. Yes, you would. You would if you were hungry. Rats, caged rats. They breed so fast.
Even that I would have a problem with. Just the mental part. But yeah, once you get hungry enough, absolutely.
They breed so fast. They're small enough portions to where you don't have to waste meat. And I mean, they're readily available. I mean, SHTF, the PetSmart over here, who's rating the PetSmart for food? This guy. I'm going grabbing all the white rats out of the cage. All the pet rats, I'm grabbing them. I'm grabbing a cage.
I got you. I get it.
And here's the thing. I remember when my boy Bobby, before he was still in his mother's belly, I had her at the Olive Garden, and we were eating, and she had shrimp scampi, and I heard her sigh, and I looked over. I said, "Is everything okay with your food?" She's holding this big shrimp scampi on the end of the fork. She goes, "I miss eating rats." I'm like, "Really? You're eating a shrimp scampi and you're complaining that it's not a rat?" Well, yeah, but I miss them, because in her country, she ate them. I mean, they would just take them by the tail, dip them in boiling water, peel the skin right off of them, and throw them on the grill.
Wow.
I mean, it's nothing. And rat burger. What was that? What was the movie? Demolition Man. Rat burger.
The reason I keep hot sauce.
But I mean, think about it. Rabbits and rats reproduce so fast. You could, take up very little space on your homestead, and good to go. And the thing is you can always, if one's getting, you get some that are getting older or gets injured, you take them, you grind them up, and you feed the rat to the other rats because they're cannibals.
Right. I'm with you, Karen. It would take a lot, but I mean, when it came down to it,
some of you need to travel the world, get experience. It's what life is about.
Yeah, I mean, the things that we're like, what? No, I mean, people over in some places will break their arm to get food like that.
I mean, if you go down to Louisiana and eat nutria, it's a big rat.
I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, you can get that in Louisiana, Mississippi, the Gulf of Mississippi, right there near Louisiana. They have these big rats called nutria. I mean, they're massive, 20-pounders, and but you can eat them down there. Matter of fact, the Hell's Kitchen guy, whatever his name is, he just did a cooking show about cooking those like a month or so ago. But I like eating gators too. I mean, I'll eat anything. My kids, I can ask I've told people, I said, you want to see how I teach my kids? They say, yeah. I'll tell them, I say, hey, how do you find food in the woods if you don't have any food? And my daughter will say, flip over a rock. You'll find food. Flip over a rock. It might not be something you want to eat, but you will find food, and it will keep you alive. Flip over almost any rock. If it creeps and crawls, pop it in your pie hole.
That's they do some, right?
Every animal carries diseases. I mean, mad cow disease. It all depends on your source, on the cleanliness of the environment you raise them in. People were saying the coronavirus came from people eating bats. Not true, though. Came from a lab. But, so many animals carry diseases. I mean, you go deer hunting. Next thing you know, you end up with Lyme disease because you done got bit by a tick.
That's true.
Rabies is throughout various rodent families, not just bats, raccoons, not possums. I think it's possums that can't catch rabies. But
I would eat a rat before I eat a possum.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't eat a possum. That'd be kind of, I don't know. Possums they're weird. They're mean. I had one grab a hold of my boot one time. There are some mean SOBs. Absolutely. Oh yeah,
they are. They will tear you up.
Well, I was naive about possums because I'd never actually been around one. I'd seen plenty of them, but one was between my garbage cans one time, a long time ago, and I figured it would play possum. No. No, you go shoving your boot back in between them two cans, and they will and grab a hold of your boot. Yeah, if I gave me a damn, I almost had to clean my drawers. It wouldn't let go either. I had to ping its head off the wall to get it to pop off my boot. Poor thing. I kind of felt bad afterwards, but I was like, wait a minute, that thing just attacked me.
I had one. It was probably 20 years ago. I had one that would get in my trash every night. I could never catch it, never seen it. One night I took out the trash. It was there. I was like, all right. I had a broken broom that I was throwing away, old school wooden handle. I took that broom handle and just shoved it clean through him. That dude got up and up into the woods, stick and all. The broomstick stuck in him and everything. I was like,
yeah. No, I also
stick and beat me.
We don't have them up here, but down in Florida, I won't mess with armadillos either because armadillos have been known to carry leprosy.
Really?
And I don't feel like catching leprosy. That's just, it's just something I'd rather do without. I don't need one of the biblical type of diseases. No. And what is it? Vultures carry plague a lot.
Absolutely, Michigan. Metal for breakfast. Good to see you. Sorry, guys, if I missed you guys coming in. I keep trying to look for questions and see who all came in. I've got huge ground squirrels and gophers all around here. I've never ate a ground squirrel or a gopher, but I don't see why you couldn't.
Yeah.
Take a lot of them to fill you up. The ground squirrels, anyway, little chipmunks.
Oh yeah, and little chipmunks. Yeah. Plus, you gotta waste energy and effort, catching them. But like I said, rabbits. I mean, now I prefer chickens and ducks, or ducks for their eggs and chickens for their meat. I just like a good big duck egg. But in a SHTF scenario, I'm dead serious. No one is raiding the PetSmart, and I will raid there and take every rodent, guinea pigs. You bet your sweet butt. They're white rats, even their white mice, and I would just cage them all up. Keep them clean, keep them going.
Not
good
just
to go.
You can get them big old goldfish too. I mean, you raise them up, they get big fast. There's not a lot of meat, but there'd be a lot of fish.
Yeah, but I want something that's a rapidly renewing source.
Gotcha.
Which your rodents, they have multiple litters, and multiple births per litter. That's just a logical way to go.
I heard Lyme disease came from Plum Island ticks. I'm not sure.
I heard something about that a long time ago.
I was under the impression that all ticks could carry it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure, but that's what
I think it started out on Plum Island, and then they, of course, once it gets like a genie out of the bottle, kind of like COVID, it starts hopping to other shit.
Oh my.
What kind of comments you looking at?
First thing I'm going for is the chickens down the street.
Oh, there you go. That's right, Coral Tigger.
Well, you might end up on the table, Coral. You start trying to steal other people's chickens. There might be people out there not so worried about eating a human.
Or end up in the chicken feed.
Let's see. I'm just kind of clicking on. Good to see you, East Kentucky. Here's a note on garfish and entrails are very toxic. Watch YouTube and learn how to clean them.
Oh, I know. I hate those long-nosed things.
I've caught them, but I've never even attempted to try to keep them.
Yeah. We just cut the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Five Virgins Prepper. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
I've heard his name.
He raises rabbits. He's got a good stockpile of rabbits.
Yeah, and rabbits are high in protein.
Oh yeah.
The meat is high in protein. Oh.
Meat rabbits let loose, run to wild, endless meat supply after a year for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and especially if you let them run wild, but you still interact with them. If you raise them to be handheld, and then you were to release them into like your backyard or your wilderness area, and you keep interacting with them. I mean, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't be basically like domesticated. I mean, cows at one point in time were not domesticated.
I was kidding. I ain't taking the neighbor's livestock. Absolutely, B. Florida has a lot of wild hogs. Good start.
Yes, it does. You'll see them right in the middle of the highway, a sow with our piglets. It's like, okay, there's a bunch of pigs in the middle of the freeway.
PetSmart just called and said you are not allowed in their stores.
Dang, I got banned. I thought, bad enough the kids go in and eat all the cookies from the dog treat thing. Oh, they did. I couldn't take them in there without that. Yeah, my little girl had a hamster a long time ago. And every time we go in there, they want to eat those dang dog cookies. You know, they look like Oreos, but they're for dogs. So I was like, you want to eat the dog cookie? Go ahead, eat the dog cookie. They're, oh, this is good, Daddy. All right. Survivors.
Absolutely. Hey, Jeep girl. Good to see you.
Hey, Jeep girl. Oh, I hope I'm not boring everybody out there.
Oh, no, man. Absolutely not. Has anybody got any more questions? Lyme disease started at Fort Detrick, Maryland.
I imagine lots of things started at Fort Detrick, Maryland. A lot of other forts, too. The government has done some hinky, some nasty shit. I did a video last year, and I just went through the list of like the Tuskegee experiments where they gave African Americans syphilis just to see what would happen.
Yep.
It's like, what? And then the U.S. Navy warship that unleashed a biological agent off the coast of San Francisco. People died from that one as well. The experiments that they gave radiation to pregnant mothers. That was down south somewhere. There's just the Gulf of Tonkin, where we blew up our own shit just to get into a war. And the list goes on and on about all the things that the federal government has done that would be considered a war crime, and people still blindly trust them. Like, no. I'm from the government and here to help you. That's the scariest freaking words on the planet. No.
Lyme disease started in Connecticut in the town of East Lyme, hence its name. So there's 3 different places that Lyme disease came from. I think we all need to look into it.
we need to investigate and report.
Right.
East Lyme, that might be where the first case was documented, and they may have tracked its origin, because it's the China virus. Okay, here, interesting fact: the Spanish flu of 1918 did not was not, the first case was not in Spain.
Right.
They just didn't want to derail the war effort at the time. I believe it was World War I. And so they blamed it. They called it the Spanish flu. So it would, for just propaganda. But when here's something a lot of people might not like. When the Chinese last year said the U.S. military let this shit loose in Wuhan, I was like, that's believable.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is. If you look at the other things that we have done, that the U.S. military has done, that's not far-fetched. I think war happens, strangely enough, a lot of the times that Democrats take power. Now, whether that's just a coincidence, I don't believe in coincidences, but anytime the economy is jacked up and a Democrat is in power, war shortly follows. That's just history repeating itself over and over and over and over again. So yes, they could very well use the war to rejuvenate our economy. We would still be in the hurt locker for quite some time, because a lot of the shortages that you're hearing about, the microchips, the rubber, everything like that, those are things that you need for war as well. So I would see, things being rationed like World War II, where you had ration cards.
Right.
Yes, if we went to war, rations are right around the damn corner.
Could that possibly be like the could that fall into like the vax cards and things like that? Could that be like part of the ration? You know, like you don't have this card, you can't get a ration card without a vax card. Sorry, guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you already saw it. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't care. Look, there's a show. I'm going to say his name on here, The Epic Economist, and this dude is gloom and doom. He is like, every time I watch that guy's videos, I'm like, you know, his voice. He's got that voice, you know. Today, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, you know. Yeah, but when I watched Joe Biden today, I was like, this is the first time I've actually felt like I was watching fear porn, because it was just doom and gloom and separating us from them.
Yep.
It reminded me of good old Adolf, you know, pointing, those people are the problem. Those people are why Germany's Deutschmarks are worth nothing. Those people are crashing our economy. Those people. It was like, you know, if you are a student of even slightly of history, you could not help but see the parallels, you know, of these people are the problem, you know. And I'm like, you know, this time the star signifies that you're good to go. It's the people without the star that are the enemy.
Right. Yep, I might 5. The V card and such.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, well, I say the stuff all the time on mine, and you know, and here's the thing. YouTube, you're letting me down. If there's any spies out there, you're letting me down, because I've never gotten one strike. All right, and I say radical right wing, crazy extremist terrorist type stuff, and I haven't gotten one strike from you guys. I'm feeling left out over here. But
you call them out. You call them out. Like, fact checkers, are you listening?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
and here's the thing. Here's the thing. I come to think of. It got me thinking. Is some of these other channels that have gotten strikes, they try to play in the middle. They try not to offend the left, not to offend the right, and they try to stay in the middle, and they get strikes. They don't, just because they don't like that. They want us versus them, and I am one of the them versus the us's. I'm one of the ones that's like, yeah, if y'all keep stomping on the Constitution, I'm gonna stomp your skull into the cold ground. You know, I'm one of them types. So
right.
they, you know, that feeds their narrative. So they're not going to shut me up, because at the end of the day, they can be like, we can use this guy to piss off these people, and these people to piss off that guy.
I wouldn't be surprised if we needed papers to go to the post office, national, some state parks, drive the interstate. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't think, this is just my opinion, I'm just throwing it out there, I don't think the post office is the postal service. They're strongly opposing this whole V thing. And, you know, we all know how absolutely excruciatingly painful snail mail is anymore. You send something through the mail, it's ridiculous. And I'm wondering if this ain't going to be their way to phase out the post office.
I think that if it gets to the point where you see checkpoints again, and people checking papers, I think at that point you will see blood in the streets. You will see, and I hope this doesn't get your channel in trouble, you will see terror cells. And that's what they'll call them. It'll be patriots, but the government will call them terror cells, blowing up checkpoints. You'll see it, because people won't stand for that. And you have just enough veterans out there with PTSD that know how to do certain things that they will just be like, hell with it, not in my country. And they'll come out of the woodwork here and there, and they'll hit and disappear. They'll travel 500, 1,000 miles. They'll hit somewhere else and disappear. And it'll one will lead to two, will lead to one, and it'll inspire people. And then the next thing you know, shit got ugly, shit got real.
And as far as like things like that goes, I don't think it'll just necessarily solely be the veterans, because it's kind of ironic how all these websites and social media platforms are trying to kind of silence,
Mm-hmm.
what we say now. But 10 years ago, this is where everybody went to learn how to blow
Mm-hmm.
things up and make
Yeah,
explosives. And you know what? You should have silenced it way back then, bud. Because now,
yeah. And I mean, if you look at it, and we're talking about, I'm talking about what could happen. But let's look at what already happened. Hell, just last year, just off of lockdowns, you had uh, people up in Michigan that were going after their governor.
oh yeah,
All right,
hmm
that shit will happen again, but I believe on a larger scale.
right.
And God forbid any of these people ever, if any of you ever Googled, and if you Google it, you will be, let me tell you, if you Google the words I'm getting ready to say, you will be permanently watched by the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI. Okay? If you Google and look and read Inspire magazine, you will learn so much. That was a magazine that was actually created by Al Qaeda. All right. It gives details on how to make explosives at home. I mean, from shit you can get at Lowe's, Home Depot, or Walmart. And I'm not talking about like, oh, well, we're going to make some fireworks. I'm talking about a half a kilo will blow a 747 plumb in half.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
a half a
nobody.
kilo, a pound.
Everybody's like dying to go to.
If you need to Google that, I would recommend using a MacBook or some type of Chromebook that you buy for $100 and you log on to some Wi-Fi from someplace else and you're nowhere near your phone or anything like. I'm just saying, you've been warned. You will end up on a list. I got to have my dirty little hands on that because I worked psychological operations for the U.S. military, and that was a psychological product put out by our adversary.
Got you a question here. Since our military is being forced to take the pokey or be sent home, how do you feel our military would fare if war could commence?
Well, you're going to have, like I said, they've already been weeding out members of our military that are conservative minded. They've said that, if you're pro-Trump, you're a domestic extremist. So they've already been weeding those people out. Pretty much everybody else, I can't say everybody else, but a lot of them are going to be the do what you're told types that will just follow orders. And I've had those. I've ran into those guys a lot. And me and some of those guys have clashed heads while I was on active service. And those guys will be toeing the line. The few that might not be willing to toe the line all the time, they'll go along and keep their head down and try not to get in the way. Again, it'll be, the people that are trying to, do their time, get the hell out. They need their pension. They want their college money, whatever. But I believe without a doubt that a large portion of the military would do what they were told, because that's what you're trained to do. When you go to basic training, you were told, I was told, back in the 90s, 3 things. I had 3 rules. Rule 1, do what you're told. Rule 2, do what you're told. And rule 3, do what you're told. Now, I mean, you just see the people right now, there's sheep everywhere. There's a lot of them. And the military is really good at indoctrination. When you're standing on a drill pad with a bayonet on the end of your rifle for hours in the sun screaming, "What were you born to do?" And the answer that you're screaming back is, "I was born to kill, to kill, to kill without mercy." That's just a small form of the conditioning that they put you through. And once you've been conditioned so far, it's not hard to just go along and get along.
Obviously, Uncle Joe isn't in charge. Who do you think is?
That is a question better suited for Alex Jones. Because and you know what, that guy, and that'll probably get your channel banned for life right there that I said his name on here. But that guy oh my goodness, he is like one hair away from batshit crazy. He gets so worked up. He's such a cartoonish guy.
He likes to be heard.
He's such a cartoonish guy, but he's normally not wrong. I mean, I'm sorry, but a lot of the weird shit that he says 6 months ago, a year ago, you'll find out another year from now he was right. I mean, it is weird. But you know, when you start looking at the big money players, at the end of the day, those are the people that are in charge. It is what it is. Money makes the world go round. I mean, we could get into, you know, the group that meets every couple years, that people say decides who's going to be in power where. But again, that's conspiracy shit. But it's only conspiracy because it's not proven. Prime example is that Joe Biden, back when Barack was in office, he referred to conspiracy theorists as, oh, those silent black helicopter people. You know, those conspiracy theorists that think there are silent black helicopters. I heard him say it in a speech. I heard him use those exact words. And then it wasn't 8 months later, he was giving a news brief saying, yes, as you know, we lost one of our silent black helicopters in Afghanistan. Well, which one is it, Joe?
He does that.
Do they not exist and these people are conspiracy theorists? Or did we lose one in frickin' Pakistan?
All right. And my backup channel is Papa Prepper 2.0 in case anybody wants to know.
My backup channel is whatever I create next, Papa will let you know if they ever ban me. I mean, I lost an entire Facebook page for posting videos over there one time. Oh, but yeah, I mean, as far as who runs, I mean, everybody knows he's a puppet. So right now, I would say whoever, look at Kamala, whoever is controlling her, follow, at the end of the day, follow the money. That's what you need to do. No matter who is in charge, follow the money. Trump, you didn't have to worry about that because we knew where the money came from. He had his own damn money. But when people aren't millionaires and billionaires and they go into office and then they come out millionaires and billionaires, who controls the company, the country? Right. The people who made them millionaires and billionaires. So see who is where the money's coming from.
Her name.
What stocks did they just get? Huh?
Her name starts with a P. She is filthy rich.
Yeah.
And it rhymes with LOC.
Yeah. You're talking about old Nancy, and I don't mean Reagan.
Right.
But oh yeah, she's a wicked witch. Her and that Feinstein. You ain't heard too much of her.
90 proof Nancy.
I don't think so. I think Nancy's just another. She's a cartoonish has been. I would look more towards the old money. You start looking at like people who control the governments are the ones who don't worry about money anymore. I mean, not just because they're rich, but because they are beyond rich. If you have a few 10, 20, 100, maybe 200, even $400 million, those aren't the people. You have 500 million. You're not the power player that's pulling the strings of politics. Right. You need to look at those ones that are in the billions. the multi-billionaires, the ones who have so much money that they can crash economies with a letter, which one billionaire actually did one time. He crashed the Russian economy just by writing a letter to the I believe it was the Bank of England.
Thank you, Jeep Girl. She actually posted my backup channel. The signs of things to come. Oh, well. But yeah. Her and her husband.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and if you look, Independent Marine, who else started buying into some big pharma last year? You look at Warren Buffett. He dumped all kinds of, what the hell was it? Banking stocks. He got out of banking for the most part and dumped a ton, billions, in the different biopharmaceutical companies. I would imagine now I'm not going to say his name because I think your channel might get a hit for saying his name, but he's a multi-billionaire who Mr. Jones talks about quite frequently, and he is big in biopharmaceuticals too. He pretended to be a Christian during the Nazi campaign and actually assisted in confiscating Jewish property. That was how he started getting the concepts for how he was going to create his billions down the road. Old George. We'll say old George. Yeah. Yep. That's who I was talking about.
Hey, 6 Shooter. Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Somebody's home.
Uh-oh.
Oh, absolutely, 5. Absolutely. Your cell phones are constantly listening to you. I've discovered that more than once. Like, we'll be talking about things like for the house and whatever, and then I'll go like to Amazon and I'll be daggone if it don't things you may be interested in. It'd be just what we were talking about. Or or you log into Facebook, it'll say, things that might interest you. Like after we had talked about where we wanted to go on vacation. If there wasn't a thing there for Airbnb, we have locations where you might be interested. It's like, are you serious? I mean, and there's no way, unless you go to a flip phone. I mean, there's no way to stop it.
And and that's why, like, when me and my guys, when we meet, it's face to face. There's zero tech in the room or anywhere near us. That includes smartwatches, smartphones, anything like that.
I want to show you guys something. Okay. Whoop. Okay. Somebody reported this earlier on Telegram. Said Snapchat wasn't working. Mine still was. And now it does not. Snapchat's down. Supposedly they were going to go in there and do some kind of cleaning to get the bugs out.
Oh yeah, I don't do the Snap thing, or I've never even.
It won't even open. It won't even open. But anyway, what I was getting at is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is an iPhone, of course. But up here, when you go to open like your social media platforms, sorry, I'm trying to get this to focus.
That's okay.
I'm doing it backwards and everything else. Well, now I lost it. But anyway, there'll be a little light that'll show up here. It'll be a little bitty green light, and that light means it's listening to you. So say I hit Snapchat, even though it won't open. See that little dot that just came on? And it went back off. Like as soon as you go into your social media platforms, that little light shows up and it's green. And that's when it's listening.
Well, I mean, and not even then. There are, I mean, a lot of the devices nowadays are constantly in a listening mode. That's the reason you can say, "Hey Siri, hey Google, okay Google, hey Alexa." They are constantly listening. Now, whether or not they have the ability to decipher which things they want to record and pass down the line, I don't know about that tech yet.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Did you hear that? My Google just said, "Sorry, I don't understand." Nobody said nothing to him or it.
It heard me. It heard me say, "Okay, Google."
Yep, it just lit up.
Okay, Google, do you work for the CIA?
Government agencies from around the world ask Google to disclose user information. We carefully review each request to make sure that it satisfies applicable laws. To learn more, check Google's transparency report at g.co/transparency report. That's g.co/transparency report.
Did you get all that?
Oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
That's like echelon.
Yes, Be Charming. That is what that is. And there's no way of shutting it off. It's just there. Tooth Fairy. Absolutely. I mean, they've all, even, I'm pretty sure, not Apple, but what's the other one? Not the Play Store, Android. They've all got the same things.
Oh.
Is it bad to use a 5G phone? There are lots of, I don't want to say conspiracy theories, because anymore those are becoming factual.
Hey, give me 1 second, Pop. I'll be right back.
All right, man. You can dive into the 5G thing. It is a big, deep rabbit hole. You're not going to like the things you find in there. But like I said, it's all conspiracy theory right now. But we've all seen a lot of conspiracy theory becoming conspiracy facts as of late. So, yeah, I think you're right, Shorty. I think it's a red light if it's just the mic on and the green light if the camera is on too, or vice versa. But yeah, all smart devices, I mean, they're constantly listening. But definitely, guys, if you haven't subscribed to OFC Nation, I mean, he's got really good content, a lot of good advice. Definitely a good channel to have in your library or whatever.
I might be. Some people say I might be a little bit off, but I mean, who isn't?
Well, just you're one of the channels that say things that a lot of people won't, and things that a lot of people think about but don't want to acknowledge that they think about.
Oh yeah,
like like the cannibalism thing, and people are going to resort back to slavery. It'll happen. If it's SHTF grid down, our civilization has went belly up. Absolutely, people are going to fall into slavery. There's still slavery everywhere now.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened this week over in on the border of Ethiopia. Villages wiped out from advancing militias. Just wiped off the map. Hundreds, men, women, children, wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't 100 years ago. That was this week. We are 3 meals away. 3 meals, 72 hours away from being barbarians.
Be Charming, like 2 messages up, Jeep Girl and Northern Girl posted his link. Yeah, he's definitely a good guy to follow. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off or anything.
No, that's fine. It's your show. I'm just along for the ride, brother.
Just there's been several that said they've subbed throughout the show, so that's awesome. Appreciate it, guys. I know he
appreciate that. I do. And I'm going to try to get a content out more on a more regular schedule. Normally, like I said, I if I feel that there's something I need to say that I haven't heard someone else say, then I'll make a video. But I don't want to be another one of these channels that just regurgitates the same thing that 15 other people are already putting out there. That's why I'll put things, that I do. I'm kind of a little bit picky about what I'll put out there.
And I totally get that too, because that's kind of where I'm at right now. I used to do premieres every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I have 3 live streams a week. And now when it comes to premieres, it's like, I can do a premiere, and then a handful of creators are going to talk about the same exact thing that day, or a day later, or the day before. And it's hard to come up because like you just said, you don't want to be regurgitating everything that everybody's already saying, and it's hard. Yeah. It's hard.
I mean, sometimes just coming up with something, it's like, okay, nothing needs said. I mean, I've gone weeks. Hell, I think one time I went a month without posting anything, and then some people commented. And we're like, and some people sent me some things in Messenger because they're friends with me on Facebook. They're like, hey, when you got a video coming out? And I'm like, don't really have anything to say. And then something else, would pop up, and I'm like, okay, I'll make a video about that. Right. But I think each video that I make should have a purpose, should give you some kind of knowledge that you otherwise wouldn't have, be useful to you in some way, shape, or form. And if it's not going to be useful, and I always say, I don't need it to be useful to everybody. I need it to be useful to one person. If I feel it'll be useful to at least one person, I'll make the video. If it's something that's 10 other people are already saying, it's I'm not going to waste your time or mine.
Absolutely. Hey man, the P, Axel Brode, Angie Moore.
Axel Brode.
That's a new name for me, so he must be from your crew.
I know Axel Brode.
Well, I appreciate
Nana P.
Nana P. She's one of them that's everywhere too.
Oh yeah, Nana P is like a rock star.
Yep, we've got several of them. Oh, it's 8:57. Well, I usually try to go off by 9 because Prepper Nation's live. Or no, this is Tuesday. Never mind. What am I thinking?
No, he's not live. Somebody else is coming live though. Alaska Prepper. Okay. Is coming on at 9.
Hey, Hutch.
AP's going
Good
at 9.
to see you, man.
And Magic Prepper already went live an hour ago. I think it was an hour ago.
Okay. Well, at any rate, yeah, if AP's coming on, and I'll go ahead and jump off. Is there any last minute questions or anything you guys want to ask OFC or Rob?
Ask away.
Just real curious how the weather all over the world goes to shite recently. I do not believe in coincidences, just saying. Absolutely, brother. When it comes to the weather and everything, I think in my heart of hearts, that's God.
Yeah, there's something hinky because, like I said, I grew up in the Appalachian Mountains here in the jet stream. Storms go from west to east. That's it. They don't come this way. And now, last year, I was watching storms come from the east, right up by the Wheeling, West Virginia area, east to west, and I'm like, that ain't right.
Right.
I honestly, I don't have a clue. We will have to wait, and maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. But if any of you ever need to reach me, not all my videos, but a lot of my videos have my email at the bottom in the description somewhere. Normally just says you can reach me at OFC Nation 1776 at gmail.com. But yeah, reach out. David G, he's reached out. A couple other guys have reached out to me before. Papa Prepper has.
Somebody had a question here. Oh, Mames. What do you do in the oil field?
We haul frac sand, Mames. We haul frac sand to the well sites, deliver it, and repeat as many times as we can, as often as we can. It can be repetitive, but it's always something always goes wrong, so that keeps you on your toes. Mames, have you checked out Mames' little videos she put out? She put out one about spinning.
I have not watched her too.
I'm not a spinner, but because when I think spinning, I think that exercise stuff that women always do. But no, she was like turning like yarn, like cotton into like something else, and I was like, that's cool.
Oh, she's phenomenal, dude, when it comes to that stuff. I mean, she can make anything out of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like she was taking a plant and making it to a shirt. I'm like.
Yeah,
okay.
When you talk about rock stars, man, I think I'm Mame's #1 fan since day one.
There you go.
Let's see.
Order from chaos. That's exactly what it stands for. Order from chaos. Should shit hit the fan, we will bring order from chaos.
Let's see. If this is still up later, I will watch the replay. Good to see you, Sherry. Thank you for being here. Seeing if there's any other questions here. Mame says her daddy was in the pipeline.
Okay. Now, he was nomadic too then, moving from one place to another, welding them pipes together and getting them across the hills.
Hey, Gary Bulldog said here in California, it's going to rain in the mountains, which we usually don't get this time of year. The weather is definitely nuts. I'm telling you, I firmly believe when it comes to this weird weather, I mean, it's right there in the Bible. The weather is going to be absolutely off the chain everywhere. And
I lived in SoCal for about 6 years, stationed over there at Coronado Island and down 32nd Street for a while. So, yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the weather, at least in Southern California, up to Big Bear.
Where is everyone from? I'm in here.
I am from Earth, contrary to popular belief. But currently, I am in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Hey,
but I also reside in Florida. Huh?
Wheeling, West Virginia. I think my mama lived there. They bounced around a lot, but that sounds really familiar.
Yeah, right there off of I-70.
That sounds familiar. I have to check. Isn't order from chaos biblical? I'm not sure.
I don't know because I don't have a photographic memory. Although I have read the Bible, I have not. There might be parts that I don't remember. But I just know that the way I came up with the name was that I've seen what has happened in conflict zones around the planet. Some conflict zones that many of you never even heard of or will ever hear of. But in any place that there is a lack of authority or law and order breaks down, it is very short order before that power vacuum is filled. And normally it just tends to be by an asshole. So I figured should shit hit the fan, why don't I be the asshole for this area and bring order from the chaos? And that's how I came up with the name.
Mm-hmm. I got to bounce over to Alaska Preppers. He has something serious to discuss tonight. That's another one.
Okay.
Yeah, Rudy. If Rudy
Yeah,
says
that's what I said was coming on at 9.
yeah, and if Rudy says it, it's it's got some backing.
Well, let's call it a night. Let's go check him out. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you having me. To all your subscribers, thank you for coming to watch.
Got one more question here.
Oh, okay.
Do you think we have a time frame?
Yes, and you'll think I'm crazy, but I think it's less than 5 years, and it's just because I've seen a lot of little signs like just random shit would pop up. Like I'd be scrolling through my phone, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Prepper Nation put a new video out, and I go, and then it's like this preacher that I would listen to, and he was like, five to get it done was a sermon, and I was like, okay, and then like 15 minutes later, I'd be like, I'm coming up on exit 5, weird little shit like that. The number 5 just keeps popping up, and I'm not a numerologist or anything, but I believe that God gives you little signs, and if you don't pay attention to them, He will body slam you with them.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking less than 5 years.
Absolutely.
And I might be just crazy. I don't know.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and cut this so everybody can jump on over to Rudy's and see what's going on. I will be in there watching, probably not chatting. I'm going to go in here and get some supper and turn it on the TV. So until next time, guys, God bless y'all. I love each and every one of you guys. Tommy and Rob, out.
Out. God bless.